Oh, hi there. In my 2023 Found Lost Media tier list video, when recapping the year, I said, we prevented Warner Brothers from creating more lost media, and boy, was I ever wrong. Because Warner Bros. Discovery is at it again. Over the last year or so, I made 2 videos about the company's outrageous decision to permanently delete 2 completely finished movies, the DC Extended Universe Batgirl film and the animated Scoob Holiday Haunt. While this is not unprecedented in Hollywood, these 2 movies are the most high-profile examples in recent memory and the most expensive. We thought the worst was over, but it seems like they were just getting started. After months of back and forth, it looks like they might have quietly deleted the live-action animation hybrid Coyote v. Acme right under our noses. In this video, I'll go over the development of Coyote v. Acme, the decisions that led to it being erased from history, everything we know about the movie, and I'll do a thorough breakdown of all the leaked images, videos, and plot details to see if we can piece together what Coyote v. Acme might have looked like, and what the odds are that we will someday see this film. Enjoy. You all know who Wile E. Coyote is. Member of the Looney Tunes, nemesis of the Roadrunner, uses Acme products that always backfire. He started in his own cartoon shorts, but in the grand scheme of Looney Tunes canon, though iconic, he's not as popular as his peers, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, or Tweety Bird. He's played supporting roles in their big budget movies like Looney Tunes Back in Action and the Space Jam films, though never starring in his own solo film. But in 2018, it was announced that Wile E. Coyote would be starring in an adaptation of the 1990 New Yorker article by humorist Ian Fraser, Coyote v. Acme. The movie, given the same name as the New Yorker article, was directed by Dave Green, who also directed 2014's Echo to Earth and 2016's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadow. It was being produced by James Gunn and Chris DeFaria, but when it comes to the writing credits for the movie, it's a little bit more complicated. Like I said, Coyote v. Acme was based on the New Yorker article, so Ian Fraser gets a based on credit. Story credits were given to Sammy Birch, James Gunn, and Jeremy Slater, but Sammy Birch, best known for writing the Academy Award nominated May-December, was given the sole credit for the film's screenplay. The movie was a live-action animation hybrid inspired by Who Framed Roger Rabbit, a style that Warner Brothers had experience with in the past, using this format in Looney Tunes Back in Action and the Space Jam movies. And to capture the essence of the coyote's natural habitat, the live-action segments were filmed in Albuquerque, New Mexico, from March to May 2022. The movie's music was done by Stephen Price, probably best known for his Academy Award-winning score for Gravity, and given a budget of $70 million. This $70 million budget is extremely small, given that similar Looney Tunes movies like 2003's Looney Tunes Back in Action and the original Space Jam from 1996 both cost $80 million to make decades prior, and Space Jam Legacy from 2021 cost $150 million. Visual effects were done by DNEG, utilizing 3D animation, while working closely with Looney Tune animators to keep the characters as true to their classic 2D looks as possible, though it has been confirmed that some 2D animation was done by Duncan Studios. In the movie, Wile E. Coyote is suing the Acme Corporation with the help of his hapless lawyer played by Will Forte. He's motivated to win the case with his niece, played by Lana Condor, his growing relationship with Wile E. Coyote, and to defeat his former boss, played by John Cena, who is defending the Acme Corporation. Other actors involved in unconfirmed roles include PJ Bryan, Tone Bell, and Martha Kelly. Based on the leaks we've seen, it looks like Tone Bell and Martha Kelly are on the side of the Coyote, possibly legal aides or investigators, and PJ Bryan appears to be playing an Acme lawyer. Voicing Wile E. Coyote is longtime Looney Tunes voice actor Eric Bauza. It was also confirmed that there'd be a significant number of other Looney Tunes characters making cameo appearances, but who is going to voice them is just speculation at the moment. IMDb has more actors listed, including gems like Kelsey Leos Montoya as Man Who Screams at Gossamer, and Bernie Taylor as Piano and Boulder Mover, but IMDb is notoriously unreliable. While Coyote v. Acme was in production, in 2022, Warner Media merged with Discovery to form Warner Bros. Discovery. The company's CEO and president, David Zaslav, immediately attracted controversy with his comically evil business decisions, changing the name of HBO Max to just Max, removing content from streaming, including hundreds of Looney Tunes shorts, so they didn't have to pay residuals to the actors, conducting mass layoffs, and canceling already finished movies for a tax write-off, while still releasing unmitigated disasters like Black Adam, The Flash, and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The movie was scheduled to be released in theaters on July 21st, 2023, but it was removed from the schedule, replaced with the Barbie movie, and not given a new release date, which, given the company's track record, was not a good sign. And on November 9th, 2023, news broke. Coyote v. Acme would join Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt, going unreleased in exchange for a tax write-down. At Warner Bros. Discovery, all hell was breaking loose, overwhelmed with angry calls from talent agents, animation studios, and filmmakers, some even canceling meetings with Warner Bros., along with a flood of social media backlash, even from people who were involved in the movie themselves. Director Dave Green made a scathing post on Twitter, calling the cancellation devastating. Composer Stephen Price posted a choral arrangement of Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, sung only in the Roadrunner's vocalization Meep Meeps, and wrote, "Had a lot of fun scoring Coyote vs. Acme. As no one will be able to hear it now due to bizarre anti-art studio financial shenanigans I will never understand, here's a bit of behind-the-scenes footage of our Meep Meep Roadrunner choir, with apologies to Tchaikovsky." And it's not like this movie was a train wreck either. Everyone who saw Coyote v. Acme gave it glowing reviews. Phil Lord called it hilarious, smart, existential, and moving. Christopher Miller said, "It was delightful, funny, charming, good physical comedy timing, with a surprising amount of heart." Ben Grabinski called it the best of its kind since Roger Rabbit. Amid Amidi gushed over the movie, saying, "But you know what I didn't expect? Feeling so deeply for a character that you have to hold back tears. This is as rich a psychological portrait of a cartoon character that has ever been put onto film, and it delivers the kind of emotional gut punch that in all my years of loving Looney Tunes, I never believed was even possible." Others, like Brian Duffield, went after the CEOs themselves. The people working at Warner Bros. Are anti-art, and I hope multiple anvils drop on their heads. Congressman Joaquin Castro even got on the action too, calling for the Federal Trade Commission to look into their actions, relating it to burning down a building for the insurance money. Things got so bad that just days later, on November 13th, 2023, Warner Bros. Discovery reversed their decision, uncanceling Coyote v. Acme, allowing the filmmakers to shop the movie around to find a new distributor. Director Dave Green made a statement saying that he was already working on his pitch to get the movie distributed. Companies like Apple, Netflix, and Amazon all expressed interest in buying the movie. This was a massive relief. By the end of 2023, the film had been screened for Paramount, Apple, Amazon, Sony, and Netflix. Sony and Apple passed, Amazon never made an official bid, but Netflix and Paramount did make an offer. Paramount's even included a theatrical release. It was starting to look like we were in the clear. But our celebration was premature, and our excitement was short-lived. On February 9th, 2024, The Wrap reported that Warner Bros. Wanted $75 to $80 million for Coyote v. Acme, even though they would only receive a $30 to $40 million tax break by destroying the movie. It's been said that they were unwilling to accept the same $40 million to potentially give their competitors a successful movie. All bids were rejected. No one matched their price. Warner Bros. Discovery again planned to destroy the movie. And just so we're clear here, when I say delete, I really do mean delete. The movie would be completely destroyed and made impossible to ever be released. Once again, the backlash was immediate. On Twitter, the hashtags Release Coyote vs. Acme and Save Coyote vs. Acme were trending. The film's cinematographer, Karsten Kupernek, tweeted, "Coyote vs. Acme is about a giant corporation choosing stock over empathy, doing nothing illegal, but immorally shady stuff for profit. It's a David versus Goliath story. It's about the cynical and casual cruelness of capitalism and corporate greed. No wonder Warner doesn't want to release Coyote vs. Acme." They would even get a tattoo commemorating the film. In late February at the 51st Annie Awards, Wile E. Coyote voice actor Eric Bauza gave a speech where he exclaimed in his Daffy Duck voice, "Release Coyote vs. Acme!" But this time, it doesn't look like any of it mattered. On February 23rd, 2024, Warner Bros. Discovery took a $115 million tax write-down. The move included multiple projects, but it's believed that Coyote v. Acme was included. On February 29th, the film's lead actor, Will Forte, made a statement on Twitter. to the cast and crew of Coyote v. Acme. I know that a lot of you haven't gotten the chance to see our movie, and sadly, it looks like you never will. When I first heard our movie was getting deleted, I hadn't seen it yet, so I was thinking what everyone else must have been thinking. This thing must be a hunk of junk. But then I saw it, and it's incredible. Super funny throughout, visually stunning, sweet, sincere, and emotionally resonant in a very earned way. As the credits rolled, I just sat there thinking how lucky I was to be part of something so special. That quickly turned to confusion and frustration. This was the movie they're not going to release. Look, when it comes to the Hollywood business stuff, I don't know shit about shit. Even when a movie tests very well like ours, there's no guarantee it's going to be a hit. And at the end of the day, the people who paid for this movie can obviously do whatever they want with it. It doesn't mean I have to like it, I fucking hate it, or agree with it. And it doesn't mean that this movie is anything less than magnificent. You would be so proud of it. A movie that should be seen, but won't. Please know that all the years and years of hard work, dedication, and love that you put into this movie shows in every frame. That's all, folks. But if Warner Brothers really wanted to keep this movie away from the public, they made a big mistake. Unlike Batgirl, that by the time it was canceled they had already taken the movie away from the filmmakers, for Coyote v. Acme, Warner Brothers sent copies to major studios, and the rumor mill has been running rampant with speculation on who is gonna leak it first. So far, the film isn't publicly available, but some bits and pieces have slipped through the cracks that we can use to try and piece together what this movie might have looked like. There aren't many official stills released before its cancellation, but we have a few, along with leaked stills and some high quality behind the scenes photos that may have been used in the final film. There are a series of 4 low quality leaked stills that use placeholder animations for the characters that show the Coyote with Acme rocket shoes on chasing the Roadrunner. Another photo of the courtroom where it looks like Wiley's up to no good, confirmation of a Tweety cameo, and the last of the 4 stills is of the Coyote's legal team looking perplexed. I think what they're reacting to is their conspiracy board falling down, likely due to its weight, that we can see in a behind the scenes video. In this video of the board falling, Coyote isn't present, but I'm assuming they were going to add him in later. We get a better look of this board that I'll break down in more detail soon. We know these 4 stills use placeholder animation because one of the few officially released photos shows Coyote with a different character design that I just love. Look at him. He's just a cute little fella. Never did anything wrong. And we also have a leaked still of the Coyote overlooking the big city. And this shows that unlike the Space Jam movies, that the cartoons and people exist in the same world. We have photos of the Acme offices and boardroom that we see a lot more of in behind the scenes footage. And we can see statues of some classic Acme products. A giant magnet, a bomb, rocket, and a TNT plunger. Then we have a series of stills and screen grabs with unfinished CGI of Coyote's legal team investigating the scene of accidents caused by Acme products. There's a cute close-up photo of the Roadrunner. And we also have a bunch of images of Coyote getting hurt. These photos were going to be used in his case against Acme, but I also suspect that we would see these injuries play out in the movie. Some are official releases, and others are from behind-the-scenes photos. Each of his injuries are from classic Coyote and Roadrunner cartoons, as far back as the 40s. Though I've been able to match most of the stills with classic episodes, there are still a few I haven't been able to find the origin of. Let me know if you can figure out which episodes these come from. And the last of the stills is Wile E. Coyote holding a hand grenade. I think this is from a scene where Wiley is trying to get through security at the courthouse, but has to turn in all his weapons. Along with the stills, we have a huge amount of leaks coming from concept art and behind the scenes photos and videos. Through these leaks, we can see how ubiquitous the Acme Corporation is in this world, demonstrating how difficult it's going to be to go up against them legally. In addition to building gadgets, they have their own bookstores, bird seed, dehydrated boulders, metal pellets, emergency tornado pills, fake holes, paint, snow globes, all kinds of food and beverages, their own smartphone, and even the law office suing the Acme Corporation on behalf of Wile E. Coyote uses Acme brand computers. We also get a view of John Cena's office and concept art of Wiley tearing through the Acme offices, implying that at some point in the movie he might confront them directly. There are behind the scenes videos of a car being blown up, and another with a car having something heavy dropped on it. There's another brief video of a budget bail bonds office, implying that Wile E. Coyote is arrested at some point. And we also have some really funny moments of actors having to interact with a stand-in for Wile E. Coyote, that of course would have been animated over in post-production. including one of actor Ryan Begay as a security guard. It looks like this is a security checkpoint at the courthouse, and this is where I think Wile E. Coyote presents the hand grenade. But I also have a theory that Wile might have a hard time getting through security because of the metal detectors, that he might have some metal left in his body from an Acme-related accident. In a piece of concept art showing Wile's x-ray, there's a large magnet in his stomach. I think this might tie in with the leaked stills we saw of the Coyote's legal team investigating his injuries, trying to recreate one that involved a magnet. The magnet that looked like it went down his throat still might be in him, resulting in him having a hard time getting through security. But I also think, knowing Wile E. Coyote, he might use this to his advantage. The security guards would eventually know that he's going to make the metal detectors go off and let him in anyways, and I bet he's going to use that to his advantage to sneak something in. There are a lot of photos and videos of the Prickly Pear Motel where Will Forte's character lives. It's a real bachelor pad, showing that he's going through a bit of a rough patch. Mail piled on the nightstand, dumbbells and a basketball on the floor, a pizza box next to some tissues. Another angle of this pizza box shows the number 505-717-2384, the number for a real-life pizza restaurant, Urban 360 Pizza in Albuquerque. Next to the pizza box is an Acme brand magazine, and in the back we can see a humble kitchen. There are some frying pans on the wall, but no evidence of a stove or hot plate, though we might just need a better angle for it. We also have some behind the scenes footage of a different room in the motel that I assume is where Coyote is staying. The place is an absolute mess. Acme devices scattered around the room, a torn out ceiling fan on the bed, various objects impaled through the wall, swords mounted alongside schematics and drawings for Roadrunner catching devices, and a recipe for Roadrunner fried steak. The motel has a pool, and in some of the only footage we have from the movie, we can see the cast and crew filming Will Forte's character falling into the pool. There are also set photos of a Mexican restaurant. The location being used is a real restaurant in Albuquerque called Taco Sol. This same restaurant also makes an appearance in Breaking Bad, but based on production stills, it looks like the restaurant was going to be named Taco Sam's for Coyote vs. Acme. We have concept art of the interior showing Yosemite Sam behind the counter, implying that he's the owner. And there's been speculation online that this location might give us a Speedy Gonzalez cameo. Another piece of concept art shows the restaurant would have had a Space Jam pinball machine made by Sega. This is a real machine released in 1996 that I swear I saw in movie theaters as a kid, but I might just be making that up. There's also another set photo at night in this location with Wile E. Coyote, but I really have no idea what could be going on in the scene. We have photos and videos of the law office that's representing Wile E. Coyote, Avery, Jones, and Maltese attorneys, a reference to Looney Tunes creative legends Tex Avery, Chuck Jones, and Michael Maltese. We can see a billboard for the legal offices with Will Forte's face on it, offering legal services for cartoon accidents. In the office, we can see one of the building's walls being knocked down. We can also see this in behind the scenes footage, where that same wall has a massive hole in it. This might be how Wile E. Coyote first enters the office, but I'm not sure. So far, all the holes we've seen that Wile E. Coyote makes are comically coyote shaped, and this hole is just a big hole. So maybe it was another Looney Tunes character making an appearance, or even the Acme Corporation coming to intimidate the Coyote's lawyers. There are set photos for a congressional hearing that happens in the movie, and this is confirmed from storyboards that are labeled Senate hearing, and we can see there was going to be a cameo from Foghorn Leghorn. I would love to see him as a lawyer or even a senator. I think that would be hilarious if he was a senator. But based on the plot leaks that I'll get to in a bit, this does not appear to be the case. Through some set photos and concept art, we can make assumptions for other Looney Tunes cameos. There's a carrot festival where we might get an appearance of Bugs Bunny. There's also behind the scenes stills of a sign reading Rabbit 75 feet ahead, basically confirming a cameo. We have concept art of Granny living in a trailer with a sticker that says, "Knit happens." There's a video that confirms a Porky Pig cameo, and a behind the scenes photo that shows us character drawings for Witch Hazel, the Tasmanian Devil, Roadrunner, Granny, Gossamer, and Foghorn Leghorn. But we could also assume that we'd see characters like Daffy Duck, Sylvester the Cat, and many, many more. So back to this conspiracy board. We have one photo that shows that it's hiding a ton of details. There are a bunch of sticky notes. Some of them just have funny things written on them like buy more string, get more bags, buy more flags. One that says collect more dirt samples next to another that says clean all dirt samples. Others that say when is lunch, buy magnifying glass, does he ever quit when referencing the coyote. Are animated characters more flammable? And I think there's one that says buy more birdicide. Other notes pertain a little more to the case, like discuss mental capacity of Coyote with Dr. Arnold. I couldn't find any Looney Tunes character named Dr. Arnold or anyone from the cast listed on IMDb's, so I don't know who Dr. Arnold could be. One note that says confirm not a hat next to an indent on the ground that looks like a hat. This same hat indent is shown in another picture on the board. another note that says measure blast zone next to a photo of the Coyote landing on the pavement with a note saying no crater in Acme asphalt, more broken bones. Another that says research Acme asphalt company. And a few others asking to test Coyote in different ways, like test Coyote's accuracy, what is the density of Coyote, test burn rate, and a picture of an anvil that has a note on it that says, lift with legs, not back. We could see a number of clear bags with rock and soil samples, some looking very turd-like. There's a photo of Acme rocket boots that we see being used in a leaked still, a section labeled witnesses. It's just a drawing of the Roadrunner on lined paper. And in the bottom right are some documents that are almost entirely redacted. There's a large section of a topographical map that's mostly covered up and what looks like an overhead photo of the same region. There are a lot of photos of Wile E. Coyote getting injured that are present on the board, many that we've seen before. But there's one that we haven't that I find very interesting. In the New Yorker article that the movie's based on, one of the more memorable paragraphs describes Wiley's injuries that resulted in his body expanding upward and contracting downward alternately as he walked to emit an off-key accordion-like wheezing with every step. And I believe this photo is referencing that exact same injury. Now that's everything I can find in the leaked stills and videos, but the biggest leak we may have had came on March 3rd when the entire movie's plot made its way online. I'll read the entire synopsis here. It seems legitimate, but you should take it with a grain of salt. The movie is set in a Roger Rabbit type world where humans and cartoons live together. All animated characters are rotoscoped over the live action footage in 2D, Roger Rabbit / back in action style. Wile E. Coyote is silent the entire movie, communicating only in gestures or with signs. The movie starts with a flashback to 1985. A cartoon Peter Lorre, and it is specifically Peter Lorre, interferes with an Acme assembly line and gets thrown into a portable hole. This is pretty strange. Peter Lorre is an old school actor, died in the 60s, worked in a lot of Warner Brothers movies, but he was also the inspiration for the character Dr. Lorre in a couple Looney Tunes shorts in the 40s. Flash forward to the present day, Wile E. Coyote tries one of his usual plans to catch the Roadrunner, and predictably fails. He returns dejected to his cave where he sees a TV ad for a local law firm promising compensation. Inspired, he catches a bus to Albuquerque. Here, we meet our real protagonist, Kevin Avery, Will Forte, of the Avery, Jones, and Maltese law firm. Once an ambitious go-getter, Avery has taken the easy path in his career, always taking small cases and settling out of court for small sums, and living in a rundown motel. He meets Wiley, who puts forward his case, intending to sue Acme Corporation for damages. In this setting, Acme Corporation is one of the world's largest conglomerates, implied to be the parent company for several real-world corporations. Doritos are specifically named in the screenplay as an Acme product in universe. Avery thinks this is going to be a small one-and-done settlement like usual, but Wiley secretly submits hundreds of complaints spanning his entire career, with the help of Paige Avery, Kevin's young, optimistic niece, interning at the firm who idolizes Avery and dreams of becoming a lawyer herself. The legal complaints get submitted to Buddy Crane, head lawyer for Acme, and an old acquaintance of Avery, John Cena. They meet up and Buddy slips Avery a check for $50,000 to drop the case, but Wiley destroys it, intending to push it all the way. Buddy threatens Avery that he's going to do everything in his power to destroy him and his case. Avery, inexperienced in actual court trials, desperately wants to drop the case, but the firm informs him that Acme's extortionate legal fees will bankrupt them regardless of whether they proceed or not, and decide to move forward, expecting to lose horribly either way. The trial begins with a no-nonsense judge who has no patience for any of Wiley's cartoon antics. They humiliate themselves trying to demonstrate the faulty nature of Acme products, and the case seems decided against them already. Wiley stays with Avery in his motel, constructing implements for some kind of secret plan of his own. Both Avery's firm and Acme attempt to find the Roadrunner and get them as a witness, but are unable to make contact. At Acme HQ, we meet the head of Acme's animated products department, Foghorn Leghorn, who instructs Buddy to get the case wrapped up ASAP before something is made public. At the motel, Avery gets a call from an Acme whistleblower, the voice of Bugs Bunny, who leads him, Wiley, and Paige to an asylum of some kind, where they find Daffy Duck. Avery asks Daffy about Acme, causing him to have some kind of mental breakdown. He secretly hands Avery a box, and seemingly warns him about something before being led away by nurses. As they leave, Avery finds the message, "That's all, folks," printed on his car windshield, before it suddenly gets smashed by a large boulder. Someone wants to cover this up. After fleeing for their lives, they inspect the box and find a strange cartoon paint can inside, which Wiley uses to paint a tunnel on the wall, which they enter. Inside the tunnel, they find an image of a man pushing a boulder up a hill and a secret message to Daffy mentioning something called Project Sisyphus, but are forced to flee an oncoming train before they can read further. The Acme operative spying on them is revealed to be an older, bitter Tweety, who reports to someone that they know about Project Sisyphus. Sisyphus is the Greek legend who is forced to roll a boulder up a hill endlessly for all of eternity. This very much relates to Wile E. Coyote, who is constantly trying to catch the Roadrunner to no avail. The name Sisyphus is also referenced in the 2011 short Wile E. Sisyphus that involves the coyote trying to get the Roadrunner with a giant boulder. Paige sees this as a potential huge break in the case, but Avery tells her to temper her expectations. They argue, and Paige tells Avery that she used to look up to him, but after seeing how he works, doesn't believe in him anymore. He realizes she's right. Avery takes a drive with Wiley and tells him about his backstory, why he wanted to be a lawyer, why he lost his enthusiasm, etc., etc. Avery went to a top legal school with Buddy. Once he passed the bar and became a lawyer for real, he couldn't win any cases despite being top of his class, and grew jaded about his own skill. Wiley takes the car to a canyon edge and makes a show of trying to jump off the cliff onto the other side, failing every time, but keeps at it. Avery realizes Wiley's point. Never give up, no matter how impossible it seems. And again, this relates back to Sisyphus, constantly pushing the boulder up the hill, though it's likely that he will never complete the task. They return to the motel room, and Avery catches a glimpse of Wiley's real plan. The entire legal suit is just a ploy to get the Roadrunner on the witness stand so Wiley can catch him. Paige looks into Project Sisyphus and finds a lead connecting to Dr. Lore, as well as an address connected to him. Avery and Paige head there where they meet Granny, the old woman from the Sylvester and Tweety cartoons. She tells them that she was married to Dr. Lore long ago. He worked at Acme helping develop their animated products line, but became dissatisfied with the work before suddenly disappearing in 1985. Granny tells them that she's recently been receiving messages from an unknown caller and plays back a voicemail, Bugs Bunny. Avery recognizes the voice and Granny leaves them the tape. They are secretly photographed leaving the house by Acme. At the Acme legal offices, Foghorn Leghorn tells Buddy that Avery knows too much, and that he is sending in the big guns after him. An off-screen assassin throws a bomb through Paige's window, but she survives the attempt. Playing back the Bugs Bunny tape, Wiley hears something in the background, and filters the sound to uncover a music track playing in the background, which Avery traces to the Albuquerque annual Carrot Festival. Heading to the Carrot Festival grounds, they encounter a shadowy figure. He speaks in Bugs Bunny's voice, but is not actually Bugs. It's Dr. Lore. Still alive and speaking through a voice filter, Lore explains the background of Project Sisyphus. In the 1980s, Foghorn Leghorn was brought into the Acme Animated Products department and made numerous changes, beginning dangerous, painful tests on the cartoons. Cartoon characters and objects obey their own comical law of physics, and Project Sisyphus was an initiative of studying/harnessing cartoon physics in order to improve Acme's human side products, knowingly putting dangerous and faulty products on the market in order to secretly study the results. Wiley is on Acme's record as a high usage user. Every single one of his failures has been by design. After discovering the truth about Project Sisyphus, Dr. Lore is captured and imprisoned in a portable hole, which Acme cover up with a story about him eloping with his secretary. Decades later, he managed to escape by sheer luck and is now hiding on the outside. Before Dr. Lore can tell them anything else, cars pull up, forcing Avery's crew to run. The next day in court, Avery asks the witness, Acme's head of PR, about Project Sisyphus. She panics and Buddy secretly has her ejected out of the courtroom. Infuriated by the cartoon antics, the judge declares a mistrial and the case is dismissed. Avery, undeterred, gives a passionate speech outside the courtroom to the press, publicly denouncing Acme and Project Sisyphus. When Avery returns to his motel, a huge commotion is outside. Avery finds from Paige that his speech has become a news sensation, and the case has been escalated to a congressional inquiry, with Foghorn Leghorn due to testify. Wile E. Coyote wants to go back to his cave home, but Avery convinces him to stick with him and come to the Congress hearing, lying that the Roadrunner will testify to get him to come. In their DC hotel room, Wiley finds out that Avery was lying about the Roadrunner testifying, and they get into a huge argument. Avery calls him out for using the case as a plan to catch the Roadrunner, telling him he'll never succeed in catching him. Hurt, Wiley storms out. Avery's partners call to tell him that the firm is officially bankrupt. Avery realizes that Wiley is gone and goes after him, finding a note in his plans showing that Wiley had come to consider him a friend. Wiley roams the streets of DC and gets led into a trap by Tweety, leading to a whole comical chase action sequence involving anvils, magnets, etc. Avery catches up to Wiley, trying to apologize, but Wiley doesn't want to hear it. Tweety tells them about how he was abandoned by Dr. Lore before Acme took him in, and Avery reveals to him that it's not true. Dr. Lore was kidnapped by Acme. Realizing that Acme has been lying to him, Tweety pauses, giving them time to escape. But Avery crashes into roadworks and gets knocked out. When he wakes up, Wiley is gone. Wiley angrily tries to hitch a ride back to the desert, but sees Acme logos and products everywhere, and realizes he can't give up now. Avery arrives at the congressional hearing alone and in rough shape. Congressman Elmer Fudd, leader of the proceedings, yes, really, tries to dismiss the hearings due to Wiley's absence, but Avery interrupts, giving another impassioned speech about Wiley's tenacity and how his refusal to give up and never stop hunting the Roadrunner no matter what setbacks come his way has inspired him to turn his life around. Wiley, who has secretly entered the courtroom, hears the whole speech and quietly takes a seat next to Avery. Recess is called. Buddy approaches Avery in the bathroom and compliments his speech. He gives him one last chance to drop the case, handing him a $1 million check, which Avery rips up, now intending to see this through to the end, win or lose. After the recess, Avery cross-examines Foghorn Leghorn, asking him about Project Sisyphus and accusing him of knowingly releasing dangerous, faulty products and deliberately causing pain to millions of cartoons. Foghorn Leghorn rebukes him with a bitter speech, saying that Acme's technological developments and progress have all been for the greater good, even if people got hurt. That cartoons are immoral anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they get hurt, because it's funny. Who even cares about Wile E. Coyote anyway, etc., etc. Avery brings out a surprise witness to prove that someone does care about Wiley. Roadrunner testifies that he has witnessed Wiley's Acme-related injuries and suffering, and shows that he sees Wiley as a friend, asking, "Are you coming back?" The Roadrunner really does care about Wiley and enjoys the chase in his own way. Wiley, finally presented with an opportunity to catch the Roadrunner, chooses not to, moved by his friendship. Despite the testimony, Congress dismisses the case. Avery is finished. Buddy and Foghorn gleefully rub in their victory, and Wiley springs his trap, setting off an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine that traps Foghorn in a bird cage. Not a real victory, but a bittersweet parting shot. Avery returns to his law firm, expecting his career to be over, but finds his office swarmed with a huge crowd of cartoons who all wish to press charges against Acme, inspired by the news coverage of Wiley's case. A tip-off from Dr. Lore leads Avery to a cache of videotapes from Project Sisyphus, showing proof of willful negligence by Acme going back years. Dr. Lore returns home to an emotional reunion with Granny, while Tweety secretly watches, remorsefully. We skip forward a few months. Avery's law firm, with Paige now a full-time member of the team, is far from bankrupt, now bigger and better than ever, having become renowned for taking on Acme and other corporations in several cases, with federal charges against Acme expected to follow. Avery is happy, filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Wiley returns to the desert, having a friendly reunion with the Roadrunner, before the chase begins, once again. The movie ends with a "Where are they now?" card explaining that Foghorn and Buddy are ultimately sentenced and imprisoned in a low-security prison, spending most of their time playing golf. Marvin the Martian takes Foghorn's position as head of the animated products department. Wile E. Coyote continues to chase the Roadrunner, but has never caught him yet. But maybe someday he finally will. Maybe tomorrow. So with everything said, do I think this movie could be profitable for Warner Bros. Discovery? I really do. Since the original Space Jam, Warner Bros. Has had a hard time getting people to see these films in theaters. Both Looney Tunes Back in Action and Space Jam Legacy bombed at the box office. And given the current state where movies are bombing left and right, I understand their hesitancy. But the fact is, people absolutely will go to the theaters to see a good movie. If the reviews came in and they were excellent, people would come to the theater. We saw this in the case of Madam Web, where the reviews came out, the movie was terrible, and people were canceling their tickets. Audiences can tell when a movie has love and attention to detail put into it, and it sounds like Coyote v. Acme has all of that. It's a bit of a rule of thumb that when including the marketing budget for a movie, it has to make twice its budget to be considered profitable. So Coyote v. Acme would have to make $140 million at the box office. Given the brand recognition of the Looney Tunes, how universal their humor is, the bankability of John Cena in overseas markets, and all reviews agreeing that this movie is great, I really do think this would be a financial success. But I do have to ask, who is this movie for? In early screenings, they ask for children between the ages of 8 and 14, but the movie's a legal drama that involves congressional hearings, torturing cartoon characters, and corporate corruption. And I'm not a Looney Tunes purist or anything, but it seems really strange that they would use Foghorn Leghorn as the villain, that he's complicit in torturing his fellow cartoons. And it's funny that I even have to say that. This role seems like it should be played by a human character who doesn't care about the cartoons, or maybe a self-loathing cartoon, or maybe just a character that isn't so beloved like Foghorn Leghorn, like Dr. Lore. No one knows who that is, and he would make a perfect villain. Maybe this would have been explained better in the movie, like Tweety Bird is given a justification for being evil. He thought he was abandoned by Dr. Lore, and the character has kind of always had a mean streak, if all the t-shirts and bumper stickers are to be believed. But I never thought the same about Foghorn Leghorn. And again, back to Roger Rabbit, I think the twist villain worked because it wasn't a beloved character. I don't think Foghorn Leghorn still has the cultural credit like he did back in his heyday, but he's still a fairly well-known character, and I could see people getting really upset by his depiction in this movie. What I do find interesting though is James Gunn is credited for the story and served as a producer on Coyote v. Acme, but he's been very quiet on this matter. For those who don't know, James Gunn alongside Peter Safran are the architects for the rebooted DC universe, making James Gunn a significant player in Warner Bros. Hierarchy, maybe having enough pull to see that Coyote v. Acme gets released. But at the same time, he might be in a place where he's trying not to butt heads with Warner Bros. Executives until he's proven himself a successful leader with this new era of DC films. I've seen some people online claiming that this whole ordeal is an elaborate marketing scheme, and I might believe this if Warner Bros. Discovery didn't have a history of this exact behavior. And if it is a scheme, it really just makes the company look cruel and uncaring. I know we've gotten Warner Bros. To release the Snyder Cut, but since then, the company has outwardly expressed regret over this decision, that folding to fan pressure to release the movie has just led to more fan pressure on the studio. And it seems like in the cases of Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt and now Coyote v. Acme, Warner Bros. Is just willing to take the backlash and try to move on. If you need any more confirmation that Warner Bros. Really doesn't care about the IP, the art, or the characters, to this day, CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, David Zaslav, has not watched Coyote v. Acme, the movie that he and other executives may have just turned into lost media. Word on the street is that the movie will be leaked any day now, but only time will tell if we ever get to see Coyote v. Acme. Thank you so much for watching. Do you think Coyote v. Acme would have been any good? And do you think that it will someday be leaked? Let me know in the comments. And a big shout out to my top tier Patreon supporters. Otterly Happy, Can You Say Rocco Mafleur, Miss Dana, Vinny Cataldo, and Odesta Honeycrisp. Thank you all so much. This is Mike with All Things Lost. See you soon.